Have you ever wondered why some people seem to dislike you or even harbor hatred towards you right from the first meeting, even when you have done nothing wrong? Despite your efforts to be kind, warm, or courteous, there are still cold stares or distant attitudes directed at you. Why is that? The real reasons often lie deep within the human heart, beyond our actions or words. Sometimes it stems from hidden jealousy, insecurities within others, or even minor misunderstandings that have grown over time. As the Lord said, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart and test the mind." Jeremiah 17:9-10. These negative emotions often do not reflect your true worth, but instead reveal the inner turmoil of those harboring them. Understanding why some people feel negatively towards you is not only essential for finding peace within yourself, but also for navigating relationships wisely. In this discussion, we will explore 9 profound reasons why some people may harbor hatred or distance themselves from you. These reasons are not for criticism, but for reflection and prayer, asking God to bring light into our relationships. As Jesus taught, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Matthew 5:9. This journey is not only about understanding others, but also about reflecting God's love in all our actions and words. Before we begin, I want to thank God for giving us the opportunity to share and learn from one another through this meaningful content. I also want to thank you, the viewer, for your support and the heartfelt encouragement you have given me. Your comments inspire me to continue spreading love and hope in God. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please like and subscribe to join us on this journey of faith. Now, let's explore these profound and emotional perspectives on this spiritual journey together. Are you ready? One of the deepest reasons why others may harbor hatred towards you is jealousy and envy. These emotions, like a smoldering fire, can burn away closeness and erode relationships. In the Bible, envy is described as a harmful wind. Envy rots the bones. Proverbs 14:30. When someone sees in you what they desire but feel they cannot attain, admiration can quickly turn to disdain. It might be your success at work, a loving relationship, or even the joy and peace you carry. If not illuminated by the light of God, these blessings can become the source of envy. Jealousy often stems from dissatisfaction with oneself. Instead of learning from and being inspired by your achievements, they see you as a mirror reflecting their own shortcomings. This leads to resentment rather than rejoicing. Jesus taught, "Love your neighbor as yourself," Mark 12:31. But to do so, people must confront their inner pain and place their hope in God, rather than comparing themselves to others. Sadly, jealousy can lead to harmful actions against others. Some may gossip, spread false rumors, or seek to undermine you to soothe their insecurities. These actions reflect a heart that is distant from God, but remember that their envy is not your fault. Your achievements are blessings from God, and you do not need to apologize for them. Remember God's word. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. When faced with jealousy, it is important not to let these negative feelings overshadow your worth or the love you have for God. Instead of dwelling on things beyond your control, focus on living faithfully. Pray for those who envy you, asking God to open their hearts and help them find peace in Him. Acts of love and forgiveness will help you maintain peace in your soul. As Paul wrote, "Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." Colossians 3:12. Reason 2, misunderstandings, the root of conflicts. Another reason why some people may harbor resentment towards you is misunderstandings. In life, even the smallest words can be misinterpreted, causing hurt and creating distance. The Bible teaches, "He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction." Proverbs 13:3. A poorly timed comment, a misunderstood glance, or an unclear attitude can lead to deeply ingrained negative feelings. Misunderstandings often arise when there is a disconnect between the speaker's intent and the listener's perception. Gaps in communication can be filled with judgment or doubt, making relationships tense. When faced with such misunderstandings, remember the teaching of Jesus. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. You can take the initiative to clarify the issue rather than letting misunderstandings fester. Learning to listen patiently and express your intentions clearly is key to building lasting relationships. When dealing with resentment stemming from misunderstandings, use love and humility to mend the relationship. Pray for God's wisdom to help you handle these situations with grace and insight. In all circumstances, remember that God has given us peace, and He calls us to live in harmony with others. Reason 3. Communication barriers, a call to love and listen in Christian faith. Small communication errors, seemingly harmless, can sometimes become significant barriers in relationships. An unintended glance, an untimely word, or prolonged silence can make others feel disrespected or distant. If left unresolved, these issues can lead to resentment or even hostility. The Bible reminds us, gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. Effective communication is not only a tool for connection, but also a way to show the love and compassion that God has given us. Consider the story in the Bible that vividly illustrates the consequences of misunderstandings and the importance of communication. It occurred when the tribes of Gad and Reuben built a large altar near the Jordan River. Other tribes immediately assumed that they had committed a sin against God and prepared for war. However, when both sides came together and listened to one another, they realized that the altar was not meant for idol worship, but was a symbol to remember their shared worship of the Lord. Joshua 22. Listening and understanding helped avoid a major conflict and strengthened the community's bonds. In life, a lack of active listening often widens the gap between people. When we fail to genuinely pay attention to others' emotions and perspectives, we fall into mistaken judgments. This not only distorts reality, but also creates deep misunderstandings. From small matters, resentment can grow into significant emotional barriers, breaking relationships apart. But Jesus called us to a higher standard. Incline your ear and come to me. Hear, and your soul shall live. Isaiah 55:3. Listening is not merely a social act, but an expression of faith and love toward others. Fostering peace through active listening. Active listening is a powerful tool in our spiritual journey. It allows us to bridge gaps, dispel misunderstandings, and foster meaningful connections. Through patience and humility, we can navigate even the most challenging relational dynamics, reflecting God's love in every word and action. Reason 4. Differences in values and beliefs, learning to love amid diversity. We live in a diverse world where each person carries a unique set of values and beliefs. However, when these values clash, they can easily become a source of conflict and resentment. This is true not only in major issues like religion or politics, but also in minor aspects such as lifestyle, work methods, or personal opinions. Yet Jesus taught us, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. He does not call us to agree with every value, but invites us to love and respect others, even amidst differences. Consider a small story to illustrate this. In a village, two neighbors frequently argued over their farming methods. One constantly criticized the other's approach as flawed, while the other felt belittled and distant. One day, a massive flood swept through the village, destroying many fields. Instead of continuing their disputes, the two neighbors joined forces to save what remained. Through this trial, they realized that although their methods were different, their ultimate goal, preserving the harvest, was the same. From then on, they learned to respect each other's differences and build a harmonious community. In real life, situations like this are not uncommon. When we view our values and beliefs as the only correct way, we easily exclude those who differ, even perceiving them as threats. Yet Jesus showed us a different example. He ate with tax collectors, spoke with the Samaritan woman, and healed those marginalized by society. He reminded us, "Do to others what you would have them do to you." Matthew 7:12. Instead of building walls, he constructed bridges to connect people. When faced with differences, we can choose between building walls or creating bridges. Walls only increase separation and foster prejudice, while bridges open opportunities for understanding and empathy. To do this, we need humility to listen and respect others. Jesus taught, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." Matthew 5:9. By striving to understand others, we not only create peace, but also reflect God's love in our lives. Remember, diversity is not a reason for division, but an opportunity to learn and love. Pray for God to grant you wisdom and kindness to face every difference with humility and grace. In doing so, you not only glorify God, but also build relationships filled with love and harmony. Recognizing that each of us is shaped by unique experiences and circumstances is the first step toward living harmoniously and lovingly in a world of differences. The values and beliefs we carry are not absolute truths for everyone, but reflections of the personal journey God has led each of us through. Jesus exemplified how to face differences when he fearlessly dined with tax collectors, spoke with Samaritans, and healed those society had rejected. He taught, "Love one another as I have loved you." John 13:34. This love transcends all prejudice and differences. Imagine a community where people are willing to listen to one another, not to argue or convince, but to understand. Such open dialogues would not only prevent resentment, but also enrich our experiences of the world. Instead of viewing differences as threats, we can see them as opportunities to learn and expand our hearts. Jesus declared, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God." Matthew 5:9. Living with tolerance and love not only brings us closer together, but also glorifies God. The destructive power of rumors and lies. In today's world, rumors and malicious gossip spread like wildfire. A single untrue word can destroy reputations, trust, and relationships. Rumors are not just baseless stories. They are tools the devil uses to sow doubt and discord. The Bible warns, "The tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. It is a fire, a world of evil." James 3:5-6. Such gossip can deeply damage not only your image, but also the spirits of both you and those around you. The story of David and Saul in the Bible vividly illustrates the harm of lies. Saul, influenced by poisonous whispers, began to doubt and hate David, who had always been loyal and had no intention of opposing him. This hatred drove Saul to wrongful actions, but David, fearing God, maintained his integrity and refrained from harming Saul. Eventually, the truth came to light, and David was vindicated by God. Similarly, rumors often originate from exaggeration or fabrication. They spread not because of truth, but due to the allure of sensational stories. It is crucial to hold fast to your faith and integrity. The Bible advises, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Romans 12:21. When you live honestly and remain steadfast in your values, God will stand with you and reveal the truth. Nothing can remain hidden forever in the light of God. Overcoming insecurities and hatred. Another cause of resentment in relationships is the insecurities within people. When someone cannot face their fears or weaknesses, they often project these negative feelings onto others. We often see that those who feel threatened by another's success or admirable qualities tend to harbor resentment rather than celebrate them. Yet the Bible teaches, "Do not envy the wicked, do not desire their company." Proverbs 24:1. Remember the story of Joseph and his brothers. Out of jealousy, they sold him into slavery. But rather than harboring bitterness, Joseph trusted in God and lived righteously. In the end, not only did God elevate Joseph to a position of prominence, but Joseph also forgave his brothers, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. This teaches us not to let others' insecurities discourage us, but to trust in God's good plan. To overcome insecurities and hatred, we need empathy and patience. When you realize that others' negativity does not reflect your worth, but rather their inner struggles, you can face them with love. Pray for those who resent you, asking God to heal their hearts. The Bible encourages, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love." Ephesians 4:2. When you live according to Christian values, maintaining integrity and love, even when misunderstood or maligned, you not only glorify God, but also bring hope and light to those around you. Let love and truth guide you through every challenge, for love never fails. 1 Corinthians 13:8. Personal insecurities, the root of jealousy and resentment. Personal insecurities often stem from painful experiences, failures, or constant comparisons with society. Instead of seeking healing in God, people often carry these negative emotions themselves, allowing them to grow and be projected onto those around them. When they see someone displaying confidence, success, or qualities they lack, they may easily feel threatened or hurt. As the Lord teaches, the eye of envy and the greedy heart are never satisfied. Proverbs 27:20. Consider the story of King Saul and David in the Bible. Saul, envious of David's success, allowed his insecurities to turn into resentment. Yet, David never sought revenge. Instead, he remained faithful to God and patiently awaited his plan. This story reminds us that when facing others' resentment, we must respond with love and patience, as Jesus taught. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. The power of empathy to overcome misunderstandings. In an ideal world, everyone would be empathetic and understanding toward one another. However, reality often paints a different picture, and a lack of empathy can be the root of many misunderstandings and resentments. Empathy is not only about feeling others' pain or joy, but also about understanding their motivations, circumstances, and reasons behind their actions. Without empathy, people easily fall into the traps of prejudice and snap judgments. The Bible advises, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." Matthew 7:1. Imagine someone who views the world through a rigid black and white lens, never striving to understand others' contexts. A thoughtless comment or an untimely action can be perceived as a grave insult. Instead of seeking the truth, they let baseless assumptions guide their feelings. This not only damages relationships, but also creates barriers between people. Through his life and actions, Jesus taught us how to break down these barriers with love and humility. He did not shy away from engaging with those marginalized by society, bringing reconciliation and healing through his love. Unhealthy competition, the cycle of envy and rivalry. Another deep-rooted cause of resentment is unhealthy competition. In relationships dominated by rivalry, people become trapped in a cycle of comparisons, constantly trying to outshine or undermine others. The Bible warns, "Do nothing out of rivalry or conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves." Philippians 2:3. Recall the story of Joseph and his brothers. Out of jealousy, they sold Joseph into slavery. Yet, instead of allowing resentment to consume him, Joseph trusted God and forgave his brothers. He declared, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. Joseph's forgiveness not only freed him from the burden of hatred, but also brought reconciliation to his family. Responding to negativity with love and integrity. When confronted with negativity from others, it is crucial not to let it rob you of your peace. Instead, follow Jesus' example and respond with love and kindness. While you cannot control others' emotions, you can control your reactions. Remember Paul's advice: clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Colossians 3:12. One way to counteract negativity is to focus on empathy and understanding. When you realize that those who compete or resent you are often battling their own insecurities, you can face them with compassion instead of defensiveness. Pray for them, asking God to heal their hearts and grant them peace. As Jesus did, we are called to be a light in this world, bringing hope and love to every situation, living out your faith as a witness to God. Ultimately, remember that every action you take, whether in loving, forgiving, or facing competition, serves as a living testimony to your faith in God. By living according to Christian values, you not only glorify God, but also bring reconciliation and peace to those around you. As the Bible teaches, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. No matter how great the challenges, always trust that God will guide you through, and His truth will set you free. The dangers of unchecked rivalry. Competition and rivalry are prevalent in all aspects of life, from work and community to family. When kept in check, competition can motivate people to push beyond their limits and achieve greater things. However, when competition is distorted by envy, insecurity, or past grievances, it becomes a destructive fire. At this point, a person's goal is no longer self-improvement, but the desire to see others fail. In the Bible, the story of Cain and Abel highlights the dangers of unchecked rivalry. Cain, jealous of God's acceptance of Abel's offering, let his anger control him and committed the sin of murdering his brother. God asked Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door." Genesis 4:6-7. This story warns us of the dangers of uncontrolled jealousy, which not only harms others, but also corrupts our own hearts. When rivalry becomes an obsession, people are tempted to engage in wrongful acts, such as slander, defamation, or even sabotaging others' reputations. These actions not only hurt the targeted individuals, but also cause the perpetrators to lose their integrity and character. Yet, Jesus taught us, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Mark 12:31. Love and humility are the remedies that heal the wounds caused by rivalry. By choosing love over resentment, understanding over judgment, and forgiveness over retaliation, you reflect God's grace and serve as a beacon of hope and peace to others. Recognizing competition and rivalry as sources of negative emotions. Recognizing that competition and rivalry can be sources of negative emotions is the first step in addressing them wisely. When you feel yourself or others being drawn into the spiral of envy, pause and reflect. Does someone else's success truly diminish your own worth? The answer is no. In God's love, there is room for all of us to shine. The Bible teaches each of us should please our neighbors for their good, to build them up. Romans 15:2. View competition as an opportunity to learn and grow together. Instead of comparing or resenting, celebrate others' achievements. When we work toward greater goals together, we not only build better relationships, but also reflect God's love in our lives. Societal expectations, a challenge to authenticity. Another source of resentment comes from societal expectations. In many communities, traditions and cultural values are viewed as unchangeable foundations. When someone, whether intentionally or not, diverges from these norms, they may become the target of criticism and resentment. The Bible recounts the life of Jesus, who faced harsh criticism from the religious leaders of his time for preaching truths that challenged tradition. Yet, he did not let these prejudices deter his mission. Instead, he continued with love and patience, teaching, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." John 8:32. Imagine living in a community where everyone is expected to adhere to predefined standards. But instead of conforming, you choose a different path, perhaps pursuing an unconventional career or living in a way unfamiliar to others. This action, though not wrong, may make others feel threatened or uncomfortable because it challenges the values they have long held as the norm. Responding with faith and kindness. To overcome these negative feelings, you need steadfast faith and kindness toward those who criticize you. Remember, these emotions often do not reflect on you, but rather on their own insecurities or limitations. Instead of responding with anger, pray for them, asking God to grant them peace and clarity. As Jesus said, "Forgive, and you will be forgiven." Luke 6:37. When you choose to live by God's guidance, even in the face of criticism, you glorify Him. Trust that in every situation, God's love and truth will be the light that guides you. Your greatest success is not in overcoming rivalry or prejudice, but in living faithfully to the mission God has placed in your life. The pressure of societal expectations. Societal pressure often forces us to choose between living authentically or pleasing others. The decisions you make, whether big or small, can act as a mirror reflecting the rigidity in others' thinking, compelling them to confront the conflicts within their own beliefs. Yet, the Bible teaches, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Romans 12:2. This reminds us that life is a unique journey God has set for each of us. Living authentically and walking in God's light brings peace and is the key to finding true happiness. Embrace the person God created you to be, and do not let judgment or societal pressure define your path. As Jesus affirmed, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." John 14:6. When you live by His guidance, you not only find freedom, but also glorify Him through your life. The need for recognition, a common root of resentment. One of the most common causes of resentment is the feeling of being unrecognized. Deep down, every person desires to be acknowledged and appreciated, whether in work, family, or social relationships. When their efforts are overlooked or undervalued, bitterness can accumulate and transform into resentment. Yet God reminds us, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew 5:3. Human recognition is important, but our true worth is defined by God's love and His plan for us. The story of the prodigal son in the Bible is a vivid illustration of God's recognition. When the son returned after a life of wandering, the father not only welcomed him back, but also held a grand feast in his honor. Although the older brother felt unappreciated and showed resentment, the father emphasized that everything he had belonged to him. This teaches us that even when people overlook our value, God always sees, understands, and loves each of us. Setting boundaries and protecting your peace. When faced with negativity from those who fail to recognize your worth or bring toxic energy, setting boundaries is essential. The Bible says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Proverbs 4:23. Setting boundaries is not a rejection of love, but an act of protection to maintain peace and spiritual strength. Negative emotions, whether stemming from envy, misunderstanding, or value conflicts, often reflect others' inner struggles more than they do your actions. Understanding this will help you maintain balance and prevent those emotions from affecting how you see yourself. Instead, focus on the qualities God has given you, build healthy and positive relationships, and keep your trust firmly in Him. Walking faithfully in your calling. Remember, every person is uniquely created with their own strengths, weaknesses, and paths that God has designed. The reasons someone may dislike you often reflect the battles they are facing within their hearts. So, continue to walk in integrity, kindness, and sincerity. As Paul said, "Live a life worthy of the Lord and please Him in every way, bearing fruit in every good work." Colossians 1:10. Appreciate those who truly love and value you for who you are. By doing so, you will create a happy and healthy environment for yourself, while spreading God's light and love to those around you. Life is not about pleasing everyone, but living a life that glorifies God. Encouragement for the journey. I encourage you to continue your journey with courage and strong faith. If you have faced challenges and overcome them, share your experiences so the community can learn and support each other. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to grow closer to God's purpose for your life. Click the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave a comment sharing your journey. If you're unsure what to write, simply type "peace" as a testament that you've completed this session. Continue walking in God's guidance, for He will turn trials into opportunities and bless you abundantly along the way. Thank you, and I look forward to accompanying you on your next journey.